Good morning, good morning. All right. It is Poppin' Politics with Kim Nicole. And whew, a lot has been going on. Um, Today I'm recording and it's actually Tuesday, November 12th, 2024. And so we're a week, exactly 1 week from the 2024 presidential election. And, of course, I'm sad to report that um, my girl Kamala, Madam Vice President Kamala Harris, did not win. Yeah. And so the whole process has been very unsettling. So I needed some time to process this because when you've been invested in, you know, um, this kind of work, it hits hard. But I think for me, it wasn't a surprise, really, if I'm being honest. I don't think any black people, I'm just talking about black people in general, okay? Black people probably wasn't surprised, but we were so hopeful, right? And so we were hopeful, we were excited, but we do know the realities of this country. So I feel like I'm speaking for myself. I'm more so disappointed um, in the outcome, but not surprised at all. So, with that said, today's video is probably not going to be specific in any one direction, but it will probably be a rant and just discussing how emotions and just thoughts, just sharing, like we usually do, but it may be just kind of be all over the place. So, but first thing I want to say about this entire election that was undertaken by Vice President Kamala Harris was phenomenal. And I say that because she had 103 to 105 days to get it right and to get into action. And honestly, that's not even fair. So I'm gonna give her flowers now because she did a phenomenal job. Okay, with 103 days to the election, she didn't have a whole year to plan this. And we'll talk about the Democrats in a little bit, but they did what they had to do, right? And she stood up to the challenge. She stood up to the challenge. And so, listen, I'm not mad at her. I commend her. I respect her 100%. And she stood there and she actually did a phenomenal job. So, other thought is she did a job that many, almost, I don't know any men that were able to stand up to Donald Trump and dissect him the way that she did with precision. Like the skill in which she handled him, I mean, it was chef's kiss because there's no man. In 2016, 2015, there were all these presidential candidates, and at one point she was one of them, Kamala Harris, and none of those men were able to handle Donald Trump with the ease and skill that she was able to do it. So, just on that, hands down, I commend her because there are men, and still are, that will shrink in front of him. And this black woman, this black Asian woman decided and took and she stood up to the challenge. Like she did her thing. So for that, you know, that's priceless. You know what I'm saying? Um, but other than that, there's so many things I need to get to that I want to talk about. But I want to talk to you about how I felt about what happened on election day, and actually on election night. So I work at night, a second job on Mondays and Tuesdays, and as I came home from my second job, which was like I got off at 9. Um, I don't know. On the one hand, I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to see anything because I was kind of like, just dreading, but still trying to be hopeful. Anyway, so when I got in, I tuned into Roland Martin because, Roland's my dude. So see how people were feeling as a people. And I noticed that their faces they were saying something, but it wasn't like it was good. You know what I mean? And so that was concerning. And that probably was around 10 o'clock. So, as for me, I had early voted. The second day, early voting was available here in North Carolina. And so, I made sure that that was going to be something. And honestly, for probably since 2016, I've been early voting because in these times it made sense to do. Prior to that, I was a person who waited till election day. And coming from New York, yeah, that's a thing. But early voting and me, and then during those times after when Trump won, it was increasingly important to vote early. One year I think mailed in my ballot. So it just was done already. But when I got home, I didn't feel like really engaging like that with the election because I honestly was thinking it was going to drag out. I was not expecting what happened. And so when I sat down, I'm looking, and Roland and his panel of guests were all on, and they were talking, and people were looking not too happy. I mean, she had at that point, I think she had Maryland, Delaware, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. I think there was Vermont. A lot of the northeastern states. But for the swing states, there was no call at that time. Anyway, fast forward. When I started seeing, I was looking at the map, and I just felt like something wasn't wrong. Excuse me, not wrong, but something wasn't right. So I was looking, and I was like, damn. And I felt inside myself like, you know what? I don't know, but I was still trying to be hopeful, y'all. I was like, come on, But then I stayed up till like almost 2 o'clock to find out what exactly was going to be the result, and turns out she didn't win. And then as I was looking and they were calling it, because I also then checked in on like other broadcasts to see what they were saying as well. And when I saw that North Carolina, because that was a toss-up, that went, everyone else blue, but for president, they voted for Donald Trump, was a little weird to me. And as I was looking at the map, every time they would like change it, it looked crazy because it was saying something different than what these polls and other things, and people were saying. And so, I know better than to listen to this because I went through this in 2016 when I helped organize and was in the field with Hillary, So that was different. And I was actually at Jacob Javits Center, invited from the campaign to, what we thought was going to be the watch party celebrating Hillary Clinton, snatching that presidential title and breaking that glass ceiling. And honey, it did not turn out like that. And that time I was upset as well. And so for me, the whole thing is not in particularly about one candidate, but for me, this particular time, it was about what it was about last time. It was about our rights. And so to me, I thought at least most Americans would be on board about your civil rights. Your your reproductive freedom. And I'm not just talking about abortion, because reproductive freedom and reproductive health is not just abortions. It's so much more. It's family planning in the form of contraception, and is also regulating and assisting in the aid of women health issues like endometriosis, PCOS, fibroids, and all type of different things that occur as women, menopausal health, which I'm now facing, so those type of things were on the ballot. And so for me, as a woman, as a black woman, as a American born citizen, yeah, I wanted to see those things. I thought most people would, see how that makes sense and vote accordingly. However, what I saw and what the end result was very different, and different in that, we were being hopeful and optimistic that the country would also be in step with some of those things. And not to mention, and for everyone who was like, I'm voting the economy, well shit, me too. Why? Because listen, I can't even miss a day at work. I moved from New York to North Carolina, and it is a whole difference. Everybody talk about when you move down here, and let me just say this: North Carolina is beautiful. North Carolina is nice. But North Carolina don't pay no money. And now North Carolina is right on par and step market-wise for housing with New York. The only difference is that you'll get, excuse me, I'm going to sit up a little bit. The only difference is that you will get, in terms of housing, is to me more for your money. Like in New York, you could pay $2,000, but you're not going to get, a month. You're not going to get all the time, and very rarely are you going to get in in unit washer, dryer, wall to wall carpeting, if that's your thing, or along with high end appliances. That's not always the thing. A parking space, a patio, or whatever the case may be in terms of amenities, you will not always find that in par with North Carolina. So that's one thing. The other thing is, but I mean, right now, North Carolina prices in terms of food, housing, gas is a little cheaper, but anything else is definitely the same as in New York. There's really no difference. So yes, so I was also voting my pocketbook. But the real result was, to me, that there were people who said that they were voting for the economy and all this other stuff. But it would make no sense, because under Trump, I remember when there was, okay, let me go back. Under Trump, everybody felt richer because of those damn stimulus checks. And the stimulus checks did not come from Trump. Yes, his name was on it, but it was because of Congress. So people need to know that. Um, and nobody was going anywhere because everyone was on a lockdown. So they had to print more money so that, you know, people could buy stuff. And so it was a different time to help stimulate the economy, right? Because it was stalled, literally. So that's the difference. And so, although it may have felt better at some point in time because, you was getting this money that the government was really printing, but at the end of the day, he really spent more money. And, and it wasn't a great time. It was a scary time, but, again, a lot of things went on. It was Black Lives Matter, it was COVID, that was crazy, and he did not do a great job. If anything, everyone was looking for Governor Cuomo for those press conferences to tell us what the fuck was going on with COVID and what was happening, because Trump was talking crazy and doing dumb shit. So, simply put, no, it wasn't a good time. But what I learned on Tuesday, November 5th, was that, and shout out to my nephew it was his birthday. And so I already told him happy birthday on that day, but shout out to you, nephew. Anyway, but nonetheless, what was really on the ballot was preserving whiteness, and that's full stop. So for me, and Maya Angelou, I think, is the person who said this quote: when people show you who they are the first time, believe them. So believe it. This wasn't the first time that they showed us who they are. This probably was the third time, because it happened in 2016. I'm pretty sure it happened in 2020, but because more people, more black people and other people in other groups came out and voted for Biden, and that's where you get the difference in what that race looked like and what this race looked like. Now, that being said, a lot of things are going on, because you had this election that was very much funded by the 1%, the ultra wealthy billionaires, and these tech companies and other big companies that really funded both parties. Okay, so I'll say that, because Kamala was able to raise over $1 billion in that short time. She didn't even have the advantage of what Donald Trump had with the Republicans. But I'm going to say shout out to all the black women who did not let her candidacy go unnoticed, and that pushed it, and that also were instrumental in jumpstarting that her whole candidacy, because they invested and was able to turn out $40 million in the first 24 to 48 hours. So that was a phenomenal thing. Also, the fact that we really have to get money out of politics, and I don't know if we're going to get there. However, because you see that as I was looking at the map, it was looking like the whole country was red. That's a problem. And that's a problem that I really didn't believe. And so, you hear now that algorithms were manipulated. And you know what? I believe that. And it's not like, how the MAGA people was like, no, the election was stolen. No, it was probably. And if anything, It was, if it wasn't completely stolen, it was absolutely manipulated by outside sources like a Elon Musk, like these different companies. And, you know, to each his own. That's part of the system, the game. But in terms of actually having an outside person who's not even a citizen of the United States influence and inject himself into our elections is just ridiculous. And so when you have somebody like a Donald Trump that's been allowed to not be held accountable for any damn thing, nothing, this is what happens. And why is he being allowed? Because no other person, no other group, I don't care if you black, Asian, Hispanic, you know, a purple eater person, I don't know, would be able to get away with the type of shit that he just got away with since 2015. And so there's a failure with our systems here that continually allowed him to be where he is right now. He should have been in jail. He should have never been considered a candidate. We all know that. We all watched it. And so I blame for who helped destroy and who are helping to destroy this country, which he says he's trying to make great, which, yeah, okay. You know, the media for being complicit in not holding him accountable, not, you know, providing objective journalism, but being a whore for clicks and views. I blame the Democratic Party to a certain degree because y'all need to get y'all shit together. I'm a Democrat. And so for me, I just, and honestly, I also have what people would consider Republican values, but, or maybe I wouldn't say Republican, but conservative values around certain areas. And I think a lot of people do. The reason why I chose to become a Democrat because I saw what was happening in the other party. And at one time I was thinking maybe if enough of us converted over to the Republican Party that we can then have impact and power to also offset things so that they reflect our needs and wants as a black community. But I didn't necessarily do that. But I stayed a Democrat because I felt like I was able to have more flexibility to do that in here. So that's where I'm at. But, you know, the Democrats, they're always following rules. And I'm not saying being a rule follower is not good, but sometimes you have to be more savvy and strategic in the way that you do things. However, I think that, again, Kamala Harris did a fantastic job. And I hate when people say, oh, we just don't know her. Like, get out of here. Get out of here. Because you do know her. How many of these people do you actually really know? And then I heard somebody say on Richard Reich has like this channel on YouTube. And for the most part, I respect him. He's a former economist from the Clinton era, Clinton administration. And he has a co-host. I think her name is Heather. And she was just saying like, well, Kamala didn't look in the camera, you know, like Donald Trump did. And I'm like, okay, you're getting on my nerves because, first of all, Donald Trump is a known psychotic, a liar. He's a psychopath. He is a known liar. Okay, and so he can look in the camera because he's also a narcissist and say anything because he has no moral scruples, any kind of um integrity or ethics to any type of morality. And so yeah, but she answered the questions. She did the best she can. She also did things that she knew was not going to make sense. Like, why put yourself in a box if you know that this is a box to set you up? I mean, some things don't even need to be discussed, like her race. Clearly, she's already stated who she is. And so she did a lot. She did more than what most people are willing to do or did, that ran against him. I give her and Hillary some credit because them some two tough cookies, okay? Tough. And the men that ran against him couldn't even light a torch, to what the women were able to do and stand up to him. So there's that. But yeah, now what? So Elon, in my opinion, he really bought the presidency. I mean, he put in $150 million into that presidency, which basically I see Donald Trump as a puppet. And he's being puppeted by the big corporations, these billionaires, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, the guy who's, the Oracle dude, Larry Ellison, you know, and, the Jeff Bezos and everything. The funny thing is, on the next day, that morning, the day after the election, I was watching the stock market because I'm a nerd like that. I watch that stuff because I'm really interested in making money. I'm still a work in progress, but what I will tell you is that every damn thing was up. Everything was up, y'all. And that is because the billionaire class has, they have an invested interest in him being president because he will deregulate a lot of things. He's going to be the president of deregulation as he was before, because when you do regulate things, you don't have any oversight. And so that way the people with the wealth are able to manipulate, monopolize, and govern over things that could be to our detriment and have been, without anybody to police that. There would be no oversight. So that is their interest, and their interest is to make more and more money, regardless of if who gets hurt. I mean, you would think that people wouldn't be against having an environmental protection agency, but they do. You would think that people would be for having someone or a body to have oversight over clean air and water. But they don't. They don't want that. They want to have the ability to, mine and mine coal and pollute the air and the water, from drillings and all type of other things that impact our health, our lives, and in the world that we live in. And so people, these wealthy companies, they don't care about that. So to me, that was a win for them. And now here we are. We've been in the new world order for some time now, but now we're moving into a different phase. And so, my whole thing is that we're at 29 minutes. I don't even want to talk this long, but I am going, it's been a minute. And this is just kind of like a rant of thoughts. So, yeah, that being said, I was like, damn. And I also was at the same time like, shoot, I noticed that, JP Morgan Chase was up. Like they weren't up just like 5%, 10%. No, these was like double digits. Um, you know, Elon Musk made 15 or 14 billion dollars that next day. You heard what I said. 15, 14 billion. Um, Meta made money. You know, um, crypto made money. Everything was up. Everything's up. I called my brother Michael. I was like, yo, we need to start a family investment group because and quickly, like we need to pick a stock, something, and because he's good with that, and just start, putting our money into a fund that can make us all money. If we individually don't have it to do, because everybody's life is different and everyone's money is different, but maybe collectively, we do that because right now it's going to be on a high. It's going to be on a run, the stock market. But I think eventually it's going to come back to reality. And especially, the big word of the day was like, okay, Trump's talked about he wants to impose tariffs. Well, tariffs are like a tax. So the tariffs are basically what, let's say, goods that are imported into this country, we pay the tariff because when they come to the ports, those shipping containers that, if anyone's familiar with what happened in Maryland a couple of months ago, when the shipping container knocked down the bridge, part of the bridge, and there was a disruption in our port system. Our ports are very important to the economy as a whole. So when you think about it, those are just goods that are being imported, but people have some idea for some reason. And I guess it would make sense that the country that's importing to, exporting to us, their stuff, that we're paying the tax for. We pay the tax at the port. So that means that everything is going to go up once he's legitimately the president, and those costs that companies pay at those ports will be passed down over to us. And that's just how that goes. So, but for people who are investors into the market, they made a lot of money. Even the dudes at EYL, who I follow, they were like, and I've been following them since they didn't even have a following. Like, when they were just young coming out. And to see them rise the way they did, I love what they do, but just stay real, stay, humble too. Don't get too crazy, but I like to hear their takes too. So, but I think Rashad said that he made like a 6-figure, somebody's 6-figure income that day, which could be somebody's yearly annual salary. He made that not even in a day, a couple of hours, and more. So, family, we have to get smart. And I say that talking to myself, and learn and invest. And just, and this economy is going to probably be tough. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tight, but black people know how to make do with a little. It's the rest of them that don't. And not to say that we like making a little or we like to be struggling. Don't nobody want to be struggling. Let's get that out the gate. Nobody wants to struggle. Nobody likes struggling. But we know how to do that. We know how to make a way out of no way. So what I'm saying is we are resourceful, basically. But it's going to be a time. It's going to be a time. I think now is the time to get into formation. And I know I said this before, well, not before on this channel because this channel's new, but I said it to one of my daughters before. This was probably like 2 years ago when I was saying that as far as black people are concerned, we need to stay in formation as a collective. We see when we get together, as you saw that over 90% of black women voted for Kamala Harris. I think it was something like 92 or 95. I could be wrong, a couple of points off, but and over 80% of black men voted. So shout out to black men stepping up and understanding the assignment. And so very happy to know that, y'all had y'all the back. And so, but look at that. That's why they were so anxious, and did all those things to stop that vote. Imagine what would have happened if we were at full capacity. For allegedly a group, which is the black people, to be only 13% of the population, if we fully came out, and then those other groups of people, and groups meaning you could have been independent and other things like that, who were not trying to hear what Trump talking about, then yeah, we could have made something really happen. But I just want to point out again, when black people get in formation and stand in unity together, that is what they don't want, because we are powerful. And so let that sit and marinate for a minute. And then also, going back to money into politics, yeah, so it's shifted. And so I never understand why people think that these billionaires and millionaires who made money, and we don't know how they made their money. We assume that they're smart because they was able to figure out a way to get ultra wealthy, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they have your best interest if you're not one of them at heart. So it's a lesson that now we're all gonna hold hands and find out. And so now the United States has made Donald J. Trump a king, and now we all gonna, they fucked around, and now we all gonna find out. I think we already know, black people, we already know. We don't have to, we already knew. That's why we did and came the way we were coming, as a collective. But then the other people, they're gonna find out. And when I'm talking about the other people, I'm talking about the working white people, the poor white people, the ill-informed people, the Latino men who voted for Trump, who's talking about, mass deportation and concentration camps. And I think for some reason, I don't know what's on their mind, but I think they always try to assimilate to white, because a lot of groups try to assimilate to whiteness, even black people. So it won't be surprising. But the thing is, that's not going to save you, because the people here that love America and believe America belongs to them, as well as the earth and the universe, are the people who are these white people, white nationalists, to white supremacists who believe that they are it. They are it. And so, and they think that their power will reign forever, and it will not. It will fall. And we will all be witness to it as it's falling now. They're trying to hold it up. They're trying to hold up this veil, but it's already started to come down years ago. Before this, before 2015, before, like, since the 2000s, even probably before, but it started accelerated a lot faster. So anyway, we have a lot of work to do, as a people, as people in the country who did not vote for him, and see that, who really know what the hell is about to happen, that we have to prepare and get ready. And always prepare with God first and foremost. And he will fight our battles. He will. But he also will be anointing, as he usually does, who the soldiers and warriors will be in the times to come. So, not to sound like a Debbie Downer, I had to wrestle with, my own emotions. I saw a video yesterday that really moved me, which was Chuck D from Public Enemy and some other dude. And wow, it was deep. If y'all come across it, it's new too. I think it just happened like a couple of days ago. It was posted. I never heard of it. This is new, but y'all should check that out. If I get the name of it, I will post it and or link it. But yeah, we're in some troubling times and troubled water, and the first thing that we all need to do is, ask God, what do we need to do? Second thing after that will make a lot more sense. For me, I had to take a time out. I really was emotionally charged because I am empathetic to people, to disenfranchise, disadvantage, marginalize, all of the things that people who are not, receiving justice and being taken advantage of. I am deeply moved by those people, those issues. And so I feel a whole lot of distress for our country, for the world in general, what's going on, all around the world. It's a lot. It's very heavy. And so I had to like really take some time out. My body was tense. I went and worked out, which was good because I needed to move that energy. And so, and I can't help that I feel so deeply and care so much about other people, and myself included. But I think about the global mission, like what's the overarching mission of how to make sure that everyone has equity in life and live in life. Like everyone should be able to have the freedom to live life as they want to, and so with that said, I'm gonna upload some new videos this week. I had 2 videos. I had about 2 or 3 videos that I'm still gonna post because it was part of the, prior to the election. Excuse me, my arm is itching. But yeah, I'm gonna post them anyway because why not? There's still good reference, and so I'm gonna do that, and I'm also gonna have some other content that I'm going to get out this week. But I had to take a moment. How y'all feeling out there? Like, let me know in the comments how you handle this. This is historic times that we're living through. So, it's a lot. It's a lot. But nonetheless, I'm going to close out this video because I do need to get ready to go to work soon. and my appointment. But yeah, let me know in the comments how you were feeling about this election, how you feel about the country, how you feeling going forward about, as a community, what are you planning to do in the upcoming days, weeks, and months? Let me know. Like this channel, subscribe to the channel, and I will catch up with you later. It is Poppin' Politics with your girl, Kim Nicole. Take care.